everybody. Welcome back to Give Us the Launch Codes. I'm Travis with Tom.
How's it going, everyone?
How have you been?
Good, man. How have you been? It's been a little bit. Now we're back at it.
Yeah, it's been a week and a half. At time of recording, it's been a week and a half since the Super Bowl happened. So a lot of that is kind of not as fresh in our minds, which is why I don't think we're going to talk much about it.
No, but thankfully the Chiefs lost, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
They lost. That's all we wanted. That's all everyone wanted.
And there's like 200 articles on Google that you could look up right now if you're interested in hot takes about the halftime show. So we don't really need to talk about that either.
But one thing I would like to quickly talk about before we dive into our topic of discussion for the day, the SNL 50th just recently happened. Did you ever get a chance to check that out?
I watched a big chunk of it, yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting because it's crazy how the 40th was just like, felt like it was 2 years ago. Really, I mean, like, wow, 10 years just went by fast.
I don't even remember the 40th.
I remember it being better than what I just saw. It wasn't it was okay. I feel like, okay, this is more celebratory than actual skits. Mm-hmm. Little hand around the circle kind of feel. Overall, it's like, oh, I thought they were going to do that skit. And where's that skit? And where's that? And how many times they keep showing us that little short film that John Belushi did? I get it. I've seen it enough. I've actually seen it enough.
The two things that stuck out to mind that I particularly enjoyed, one, it was the opening musical number with Paul Simon and Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool one.
They were performing Homeward Bound, which, when I was a kid, my dad would play me, and by kid I mean when I was an infant, my dad would play me Simon and Garfunkel music to put me to bed. So I liked that bit. And
it was nice to see how well they complemented each other when you think about it. Like the generational gap, the music gap, like they're different genres, way different ages, but what a nice pairing.
It kind of had the affect of like a girl singing with her grandfather.
And like, you know what? I hope they capitalize on that. I hope they see more of that on her tours, or even his tours.
Yeah.
No, he's not touring anymore.
He doesn't tour anymore. No.
Well, then I hope she brings him out a couple times, because honestly, you don't want to waste that moment. That was really a lightning in the bottle in my eyes.
Yeah, that was lovely. I don't know was Paul Simon like the first guest that SNL ever had?
No, the first guest is you mean host? Musical guest or host? The musical guest was Billy Preston and Janis Joplin, I believe. Those two were the first musical guests of the first episode. And the host is George Carlin. He was the one who did it.
Okay.
Which makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
So if he was alive, he definitely would have done it. Mm-hmm. But overall, no, you're right. That was a nice moment. What was your other moment you were talking about?
Adam Sandler's kind of his acoustic tribute to like over the years, where he was going through all the inside jokes, right. Which it's clearly something mostly for the people who are there, but as you can relate to it as someone who's been through like a workplace environment. Some of the little stuff like the interns and what's the boss gonna think. Yeah. And then I love the stuff in the end where he talks about, he name drops several cast members, ending, of course, on... he name drops several cast members, bringing up how many years they were on the show, almost in like ascending order, but then he concludes with mentioning Chris Farley and Norm Macdonald. I kept thinking with Norm Macdonald, like, man, there's an OJ joke they could have used that he could have been awesome at. We'll never get to hear rest in peace. Or as Michael Chase said, yeah, rest in peace. We're going to miss you, OJ.
The best OJ joke he ever did was just, congratulations, everyone. Murder is legal in California. That one kills me still. I think for me, for the SNL 50th, the favorite moment, and this is because... going kind of off with how you grew up as an infant with Simon and Garfunkel, as me, for not only as an infant, but most of my childhood, I grew up on just nothing but Beatles music and Beatles films. The Paul McCartney, just, wow, still, killing it. Just killing it.
Yep.
That was great. It was just great to see. Mm-hmm. It's always great to see McCartney just really just kicking ass like he was when he was like, 20 and 30. Like,
he's still on it.
And he won't stop. Mm-hmm. He's still touring everybody, and it's like good. I think that is also time now, quickly, for a word from our sponsor, Tot's telling us. Tater Tot, thank you for reminding us. Let's just talk about our sponsor right now before we dive into it. We might as well. We do have a brand new sponsor again, Travis. Can you believe that? We already have our third sponsor. Is that crazy?
Oh, yay.
Our sponsor today, everybody, you're going to love it, is water. Just water. Isn't it nice? Nice to drink. Good for you when you're sick, like a hot cup of water. Good to boil noodles in. And good to take your medicine with. Just regular good old-fashioned water from the planet. Some people like it salty. Some people like it spring. I prefer it purified.
I preferred it a nice pH 7.
So there you go. Thank you very much. That's our sponsor for the day. And now we get to the bulk of the meat for this episode. Number 3, everybody. We thought we would just talk about what's really interesting, what I've been noticing on the news and podcasts and just talking with my buddy here, Travis. The overall almost borderline level of stupidity on how everyone's reacting to just what the government's quote-unquote discovering and finding. It's kind of like, really? Like, we've known there's been corruption and money laundering and, missing billions of dollars since what? The, 70s and 60s. Like, this isn't new yet. Seems like a lot of people are acting like, oh my God, can you believe they found all this money just unaccounted for? Like, oh my God, it's over here too? Like, oh wow, like the Department of Education is overspending so much and so much is missing. It's like, no shit. Like, we've known. This isn't anything new. You're acting all shocked.
Well, of course, for me, what I think is how much of that is actually misplaced money. I don't trust a single thing that Trump and Musk are putting out as like, see, we found all this, that we found this money that is being wasted, and then you find out like actually that money is being useful. Like just today, at time of recording, we've had another plane crash. We had 2 small planes collide in Arizona, and again, you want to say it's the 70s. Remember when like plane crashes would just kill rock stars all the time?
Yeah.
We're back, baby. The plane crash era is back, y'all. Yeah, because we're, let's gut the FAA. Let's remove all the people that are in charge of safety standards. Let's reduce the number of air traffic controllers and have them doing more jobs than they should be doing and being overworked. So they'll end up being like John Delancey in the season 2 finale of Breaking Bad, except these people don't have like family grief to hurt their job performance. They're just overworked. I mean, just was like they had people. They fired a bunch of people that were in charge of overseeing our nuclear stockpiles, and then they realized that they needed those people actually, so they're trying to rehire them. But they're having a hard time finding them because I guess they deleted their contact information or whatever. I mean, this is like rampant incompetence, and this is why I don't trust any of this stuff about like, see, look, this is wasted money. Also, you know what part of government has failed in its audit for the past 6 years or 7 years? Like 7 years in a row, they keep failing.
Tell me.
The Pentagon. Yeah. The Department of Defense.
No, they're on the books all the time. It's clean. It's recorded. What?
But we love. Like if there's one thing America will never stop spending money on, it's the military. We love our war machine economy, even though we are not in a third world war. But they keep failing their audits, which means there's money that goes into the military that's not being accounted for, and yet you don't see politicians, Democrats or Republicans, unless they're like, your Ilhan Omars or AOCs, which are few and far between, you don't see mainstream politicians getting uppity about, we're overspending on the military. Actually, no, they're like, here's some more money. Even when the DOD is sometimes like, no, it's too much. or actually we could close down certain bases because it'll help us run more efficiently. No, more money. Keep those things open. We need more graveyards of fighter jets and tanks, just barren lands where because we'll make a bunch of military hardware that cannot be used, and so they'll just stockpile them in increasing capacity in these like barren wastelands in America. not to be used, probably collecting rust. But anyway, any way to keep those contracts going, any way to keep that manufacturing going. You want to talk about wasteful spending?
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying too, but yeah, it's just funny how it's just overall this shocking revelation a lot of people are having about like, wow, can you believe that? Wow, there is so much corruption. It's like we've known corruption like has been here. It's like everyone. It's almost like everyone has forgotten 3 very important movies that our country made. All the King's Men, the original one from 1949. All the President's Men, with Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford. Remember that one? And then Network. Like, everyone forgot about fucking Network. Like, and they're acting like this is this big thing of like, can you believe all that wasteful spending? Can you believe all this corruption and people skimming off the top? Isn't it crazy when you look at the Department of Education, how it's all the administrators getting the money and not the teachers? And I'm like, interesting, because I remember back in 05, between 05 and 08, there was a lot of like, teachers need to stop complaining. Get the fucking work. Who cares if you have to use your own money to buy school supplies? It's like now, but now it's like, hey, let's give the teachers some more money. It's like, no, like, really? Now you flip the fucking coin on your, like, no. It's just a dumb reaction about how we all knew there was corruption, regardless of whose ass was in the Oval Office. We're all shocked and revelated now because it's like, why? Because Trump did it? Like, there were presidents before. There were reporters before. Remember McCarthy? And all that shit?
I will point out the fact you mentioned 3 movies, and only one of the... First of all, 2 of those movies you mentioned are, like, almost 50 years old. So I guarantee you...
Yeah, but I'm fucking 30. I saw them. I'm just saying. And our parents saw them.
That's because you like movies with, like, a special, as like an artistic specialty. You're a connoisseur of that.
But our parents saw this. These were big hit movies that all our parents and grandparents saw, and yet now that generation's acting like they never saw them.
Didn't all those movies predate Star Wars?
Yeah, there you go. I guess that's true.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we figured out how to make like crowd-pleasing movies since then. I mean...
You can do both.
Yeah, and out of the 3 movies you've mentioned, Network is the only one I ever see get quoted.
Yeah, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Or what's that got to do with the price of rice? I love that one. Or you have You have tampered with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beale, and I won't have it. But it's just that. It's like people forgotten, like, it's almost, it's the equivalent of, like, forgetting your history, where it's like, not just historical events that happened that really were shaping America, but also the movies that happened in the past that were topical of the time, that were the big hits that everyone went and saw, Oscar-winning pictures. And it's like we're here now, and it's like this big shock of, like, can you believe that? It's like, yes, because remember what George Carlin said, speaking of, SNL? Never trust a suit, and don't trust anyone over 30.
The 70s, I mean, we're talking about, like, pop culture from the 70s as, like, the warnings that we forgot. The 70s were very... I will say, the 70s were kind of the special time for that sort of thing. Because the 70s was like when Hollywood got really experimental. Hollywood had, like, kind of a crash in the 50s, and no one really knew what was going to be a hit movie. And this is where you had kind of the new Hollywood movement, as they call it. This is where you get your Scorseses, your Spielbergs, your Brian De Palmas, these filmmakers that were like, okay, well, I'm going to... Where Hollywood just kind of like, go off. We don't know what we're doing. And it really wasn't until... I mean, you had The Godfather, that was like a real big hit, but then Jaws was the first summer blockbuster, which is just, hey, it's a movie about we're going to go kill a scary shark. And then Star Wars, big fluffy space adventure, and then you get to Reagan. And then Reagan...
It is Reagan. Like,
I should really just stop with saying, then you get to Ronald Reagan. Like, it's just, like, I should not... Like, I shouldn't have to elaborate any further.
Isn't it great how people forget about Reagan or just try to view it differently when it's like really when it comes down to Reagan every time? Does everyone forget how Robin Williams, every motherfucking stand-up, would crack jokes about Reagan's dementia? Like, that's Robin Williams did that every stand-up, but yet, you know what? Let's talk about Biden's dementia. No, yeah, we can also talk about Reagan's too. He fucked up.
Yeah,
But no, you're right. Like, it would be nice just where it's like, you know what? It's almost this weird equivalent of like, you know, you actually can eat your cake and have it too. You can remember what happened beforehand and measure it here. Just because you got this guy who you quote as your savior, which, first of all, no president ever is a savior. Not even George Washington. Not even Lincoln, who were the two greatest presidents. No man is elected to office to save. He's elected to keep the flow of the boat afloat. Not to save, not to, I'm going to be your guy. It's like, no, I've seen those movies, and I've read the history books of people who said, I'm with you. They're not. No president is ever with you. They just need to keep everything plateaued. We will take care of the rest as the public, as the citizens.
There's a video I watched recently. I forget the name of the YouTuber. I'm gonna look it up on my phone so that I can name drop him, and you can check this out. But he makes videos talking about movies.
Is it Jose?
No, it's not
Okay.
Jose.
He's a good one, by the way, folks. Check him out. He has like a blue jay as his profile. Really cool. By the way, while Travis is looking this up, I want to just give a shout out to our awesome producer. She feeds us, and she makes us laugh. We love her.
That's my wife, everybody. Pointless Hub, that's the name of the YouTuber, and just recently he made a video comparing is talking about how Deep Impact and Armageddon came out in the same year.
Okay.
But something that he talks about, because then he brings in another movie, and it was that one Gerard Butler movie that came out a few years ago called Greenland, which is also another post-apocalyptic asteroid falling on the ground. But one thing he talked about was how, like, apocalypse movies in the 90s depicts the president as being kind of like that heroic figure. I think Independence Day is probably the worst of all of those, where like President Bill Pullman is like this badass former fighter pilot. The president is a noble.
It was more the president's portrayed as like the calm.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. He's always portrayed as the calm in those disaster movies.
Yes, and not encumbered by, political corruption, bias, preferences, partisanship, or anything. And then in Greenland, I haven't seen this movie, but apparently in that movie, there isn't like everybody needs to evacuate and trust in the president. He's going to be 100% honest with you. No, only certain people get evacuated. And everyone else, they don't tell. They don't tell everyone else about the impending doom.
That was in 2012 too. That movie, basically, where it's like certain people knew about the arcs. Not everyone gets to get.
Yeah. So it's So you have like it shows like how, and I guess that was like an end of Cold War thing where America won. We've reached the end of history, and our presidents, they don't exist to bring about change or overcome challenges. They're just here to keep the system running, and the only thing we have to fear is the occasional scary Middle Eastern terrorist attack. Middle Eastern or Eastern European, because 9/11 hadn't happened yet, so we were scared of Balkan terrorists.
And then on that fateful Tuesday morning, it all changed.
Yeah.
And we know how that president handled that shit. It would be nice to just basically like everyone, read more and don't pretend to forget or act surprised. Every government is corrupt across the board of human history. Our country's no exception. None of our presidents are an exception. Let's be honest, we only had really 2 amazing presidents overall. And it's not like trying to downplay or like shock and awe or anything. It's just that's what it is. That's just where we're at. We had one who was basically elected president for the birth of our country, and when our stupid politicians at the time wanted to make him king, he said, "No, we just got out of a war. I'm going home. Figure it out," which was the smart move. And then we had one who, thank God, freed people, ended slavery in this country, and unfortunately he got shot, and that's why the Civil War is a complete, basically garbage mess that we're dealing with to this day. And then now you got this crap where it's just like, we're exposing all of this and that. It's like, we knew. No one should be surprised. We all knew. He's making on his promises, though. What fucking promises? That we knew that shit was going on? It's the equivalent of saying, like, hey, did you see the cops finally arrested that guy who kept beating his wife next door? Yeah, we all knew it. No one else did anything about it. We just waited for the cops.
You talk about kind of how our culture overinflates the importance of the president. I remember thinking about that a lot when I went to Disney World and I went to the Hall of Presidents. And
that's right. That's at Disney World.
Disney World in Florida, in Orlando, Florida.
The Hall of Presidents.
The Hall of Presidents. And I was genuinely I was genuinely creeped out with the narration because they kind of talked about like the role of the president. It's almost like you get the sense that like once you step into the office, you're endowed with like mystic wisdom of how to run the country, how to save the country. The nature of being president makes you better at leadership. Blah 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 blah. It was so freaking creepy, and all I could think of is I envy the British because the British they have a literal monarch, they have a king, but like the people that actually run the government is like Parliament and the Prime Minister and all that. But nobody, to my understanding, people don't have like this messianic complex bestowed upon Prime Ministers of the UK. There isn't like a cult fan club for Keir Starmer. There isn't like a weird thirst for you don't have like creepy middle-aged women being thirsty for him or
their sons, cough cough.
And I'm trying to think like Boris Johnson, David Cameron. I'm just naming recent prime ministers.
And I get what you mean because it's like not every time, for example, any president. But okay, let's just talk about Trump. Because he's on the news a lot. He's making speeches and rallies every day.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't the Sermon on the Mount shit, guys. Like, I have never looked up at the president of, like, the holy of art thou. No, guess who I saved that for? My dad and mom. Jeez, and then, really, just my dad and mom. And then, like, maybe a couple of, teachers I had in my life in high school because they were good teachers who cared. But I never look at an elected official like that, and you never should because he's elected, he or she is elected, and they have a term limit. And there will be a new one. And then it's a cycle because that's the point. The point to me, bringing up the British, how they do their stuff, for us, the president is supposed to be the closest to the everyman, is elected to office to keep the peace and keep the boat afloat. Mm-hmm. Nothing more, nothing less. There are going to be some promises made, sure, to a degree, because you're campaigning. I understand campaigning has some overall BS promises. Everyone does it. But we take it for a grain of salt. But when you get it, it's not like, my God, we're in the golden era. What the fuck? So, like,
No,
because think of this. Think of this. They're saying we're in the golden era now with Trump. So the 40s and the 50s were jack shit? Because I remember that being called the golden era by my grandparents.
I didn't. If the golden era means that I'm scared to fly because I don't trust the competency of air traffic control staff, can I go back to the Bronze era or Silver era or whatever we're calling the pre-second Trump term era? The best age of comic books is the Silver Age from like the 60s or 70s because the golden age is the 40s, but I don't want to read that shit. That's like kiddie juvenile bullshit. I want to read like Stanley Ditko's Spider-Man.
Let's be honest. The best music was in the 60s and 70s. Let's be honest. I mean, right? Shit. I'd love to see Zeppelin live. Who wouldn't?
Good rock music at least.
Fuck, man. But yeah, let's tone it down, people. You should never act shocked by what the government does, whether good or bad or uncovering. We all know it's there. You read history, you watch history, you even read the books and TV. You read the books, watch the movies and TV that are based on historical events. We all know it's just like you can't trust a suit. You're not supposed to. That's the point, especially of this country. The point for us is we elected you, but watch your fucking step. That's the whole point of this. We elect you, but we will drag you out of the fucking streets and tar and feather your ass. That's the whole point, the check and balance, for example. You're not this holy art thou sent from God. Because also, too, I know you have a joke for this because you said it before, Travis. What does God need with a country? And the punchline is, ask Israel.
Oh.
I'm just saying, like, what does God need with a country? God, there's, hundreds of Christian countries here. Who cares? Like, no, we're all...
God bless America and only America.
Fucking Christ.
And Israel. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-dum-bum.
Yeah, it would just let's calm it down. We know there's bullshit. If it's being uncovered properly, I'm down for it, really, if it is. Mm-hmm. But also, too, we know it's not going to work out in the end because, one, anything in the hands of humans is just going to turn sour at the end of the day. Like the Department of Education. Okay, you're doing all this stuff. Well, are they going to stop, though? What you're saying they're going to stop at cutting? Or is it going to go down and down and down where we have, 50 to 60 kids in an elementary or high school class?
Well, they want... The ultimate goal is to eliminate the Department of Education altogether.
No, but I'm saying, like down, like, because you can always go further, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, if, for example, I know that we're leaving up basically, every state's on its own with its education. Yeah, we know how that leads. Mm-hmm. Leads to history being muddled and not being told properly.
Yeah. That's where you get some schools that teach the Civil War and other schools that teach the War of Northern Aggression.
Jesus Christ. And it's just like, fuck me, man. I get it. History is told by the victors. That's also dangerous because victors like to keep stuff quiet.
Oh, yeah.
It goes both ways.
Oh, yeah.
Just tell it how it is. Shit.
Actually, you know what a lot of this kind of reminds me of? It's like, because I'm a big follower, I also am into the show business, and ever since in the past, even before the strikes, in the past few years, the big media conglomerates, Disney, Warner, I was going to say Fox, but I don't know if Fox did that.
Sony? Did Sony do anything?
Sure,
Amazon?
Sure, Sony.
Just the big studio stuff, yeah?
It's like they've been having, layoffs after layoffs. After I think specifically after Warner merged with Discovery and David Zaslav took over, that's when HBO Max became the less recognizable Max.
Which, let's be honest, whenever you hear Max, I still think of Skinamax. And yes, I said Skinamax, skin. I never hear Max.
Which they own.
Whenever I hear Max, I just think of softcore porn.
Yeah, it's like a great example of how rich people could be really stupid at branding. See also Elon Musk. But I think about, well, actually no, with Elon Musk and Twitter, that's actually maybe more with the platform formerly known as Twitter, as I call it.
What does he think he is, Prince? The artist formerly known?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, X. Yeah, I refuse to call it that. But yeah, he laid off a bunch of people, especially people that were responsible for enforcing terms of service, and he would just unilaterally override people. And then he fired a bunch of people that were even responsible for making sure the network was safe and still functioning. I remember there was 1 week where people thought Twitter was going to shut down by the end of the week because it just couldn't keep but it didn't happen. But it's we're just going to lay off all these people. And as evil as that is, that makes sense in a corporate sense, because it's these are for-profit companies, and your shareholders want to see more profit, so okay, we'll fire some people. It used to be when layoffs happen, it's because a company isn't doing well, but now you're having situations where corporations are doing well, but they've kind of reached the max point of growth, but that's not how capitalism works. Capitalism demands infinite growth in a finite environment. So it's if your company can't grow any further, if you've literally accumulated as many Twitter users as possible,
cut the fat.
then you're then you got to look for people to fire so that you can spend less money on less people, and that could be translated into profits. But it's false profits. Or maybe not literally false profits, but it's bullshit profits. It's not my company's doing well, it's just I'm paying less people.
And also, too, they're firing basically the foot soldiers, the workers, not the bosses, which is you need less suits, you need more boots. Mm-hmm. You don't fire your ground crew. Jesus, you need boots on the ground. You fire the people who are sitting in the office managing. You need less bosses, more boots on the ground.
But at least there's a profit incentive. But except this is the government.
Yeah.
Government doesn't operate on profit incentive.
You know what? If he wants to keep doing all these government cuts and saving the taxpayers' money, I think there's about, almost 400 people in Congress you can also maybe fire too then, in my opinion. You can fire a lot of politicians. He won't do that.
Well, wait a second. Isn't that what the Emperor did in the beginning of New Hope, where they just reference, oh, yeah, we dissolved the Senate?
The Imperial Senate will no longer be of any concern to us. I have just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently. The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away.
That's impossible. How will the Emperor maintain control without the bureaucracy?
The regional governors now have direct control over their territories. Fear will keep the local systems in line.
You're giving Trump too much credit for comparing him to that. At least the Emperor got shit done.
Well, that's kind of like, that's like the mysticism of fascism, is that the person in charge is like some great evil genius, but actually most of the time in fascism, the leaders, while dangerous, are also wildly incompetent. And this was even true of Nazi Germany. There was a lot of incompetence in how they ran that, which is why they lost.
I guarantee there's going to be more. I mean, it will, obviously, because they're digging, quote unquote. There's going to obviously be more stuff covered up of more like, look what's being recklessly spent. Look what's this. Look who has overseas accounts. And it's going to be like this. The fact that you're shocked, don't. We've known for decades.
You know what's stupid is that the way they're going about this is also causing a lot of needless spending. Like I mentioned about...
Well, because you need to hire all these people to do it.
Well, it's like... Well, yeah, it's like, okay, you got to hire... Like I said, there's situations where people are getting fired, and then they go, wait a second, we need those people back. Well, now you got to spend money on resources to get those people back, to get their employment back up and running. And I just keep thinking, like, if I was a federal employee and I got laid off, I feel like I would probably insist on continuing to go to work for a few weeks, just in case they made an oopsie, just in case they realize, oh shoot, you're in charge of pressing the do not push, or not pressing the do not push button with the nuclear bombs. I don't know.
Well, it's funny that you say that. That was actually a bit of the premise in that one movie, Margin Call, when Stanley Tucci's character got fired, but he's like, yeah, okay, but I'm working on something really important that could save this company. No, you're fine. And it ended up like being the worst global market crash for the country. That's what the movie was based on, Margin Call, the 2008 crash.
There was a situation where, related to what's happening, where I think it was the Admiral of the Coast Guard.
I forget
her name. I forget her name. It's a lady, and she was fired. I don't know why. I don't think there's been a legitimate reason given as to why she was fired. Part of me kind of wonders if she can sue for discrimination, because I kind of just wonder if they didn't want a woman in that role, with all this because I think one of the reasons given, because they have to give a reason, one of the reasons given was like, oh, too much focus on DEI and not enough focus on safety, whatever the hell that means. But I think it was just they didn't want a woman in that role. So she has a residence that is paid for by the taxpayer, right. And per rules or laws, I think, regarding the Coast Guard, if the Admiral of the Coast Guard is dismissed, she gets to stay in that residence for 60 days. She has 60 days to kind of, get her affairs in order and move out. Yeah. No, then DOGE comes in and says, you got to get out. They come in shortly afterwards. They're like, hey, you got 3 hours to get out of here. And so she had to quickly move in, crash at a friend's house. And so now we're in a situation where it's like I think we're paying for her to stay somewhere else. Because I think there was some push back and forth. So now we're paying for her to stay somewhere else, while also paying for the upkeep of the property that she was supposed to stay. So there's actually more needless spending to be done that's being done on this than if they just followed the protocol and didn't try to rush into anything, because, Elon Musk is hiring 19-year-old Nazi posters to run this whole so-called department. You
know what they say? You gotta spend money to save money. That's hilarious.
The whole thing is a scam. It's a naked power grab. it's just a big naked power grab as a way for... It's like an attempt for Trump to kind of go around Congress and normal channels to give the illusion that he's doing something in his first 100 days, which is really just, I'm going to do whatever Elon Musk says because I have no thought in my brain.
Speaking of that, what is with the whole fascination of the 100 days thing? I noticed that with Obama's second term, and I keep just hearing like, oh, these first 100 days, and I'm like, what kind of like tax audit, meaning, lack for a better word, tax audit fiscal year timeline is that shit?
I think it's like
just to cement yourself for the second election, the second term. Is that what this 100 days? I've never understood that 100 days thing. I know we're going off on a tangent now, but that 100 days thing, what is that all about? This whole like, oh, the first 100 days, and it's like, a year is 365, guys. Like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, I think it's like some PR crap where I guess it's like the first 100 days is when the whole country is going to put its attention on you. Oh, the new guy in charge. What's he going to do? So you want to get your big sweeping actions, as many of those, out of the way to give the impression that you're doing something, and probably to give and probably to get like a head start on your opposition before they start blocking you for whatever reason. That's my rationale of what that means. And I guess, I don't know, first 100 days, 100 is a nice round number. And now, I mean, it's not codified in anything. It's just sort of, traditional wisdom, conventional wisdom crap that, we kind of pretend is like, it's a legitimate thing when it's just sort of like a hunch. I feel like in this conversation, we're talking about reaction and stuff. I feel like I probably should have read Noam Chomsky's manufacturing consent before we did this, because he talked about, because he's kind of famous for talking about this a lot, where it's like, yes, we have technically an independent media, like we the government does not control what media we put out, but the media is complicit in kind of just putting out whatever message the government wants and kind of going along with it, not really challenging it at all. We saw this firsthand with the invasion of Iraq, which was just based on a pack of lies. Iraq has WMDs, we got to invade. Putting aside the fact, why should that be a reason to invade and topple a whole country? But like,
we never found anything anyway.
We didn't find jack shit. But the mainstream media bought into that hook, line, and sinker and put it out like it was a fact. And then when they found nothing, the reaction ranged from shock, oh my gosh, how were we misled? Oh no! Even though people were sounding the alarm that this was a con job before we invaded. This wasn't just something we discovered afterwards. No, people knew this was bullshit from the get-go. That was one reaction. The other reaction here from the mainstream media was, oh, what's going on over here? Oh, don't worry about it. Did you hear that President Bush fail? Actually, I think that's when Bush, I think once it was fully set in that we didn't find anything, that's when Bush tried to get us to invade Iran, but that didn't happen, thank God. Let's go to war with a third Middle Eastern country.
He looks like Alfred E. Newman. I just want to say that, just for my benefit.
George W. Bush?
Yes, he looks like Alfred E. Newman. And if you don't know who that is, people, type in Alfred E. Newman and try not to laugh. Because I did that in first grade. Because I'm not stupid. Because my parents talked to me. Cough, cough.
I was watching Star Trek Enterprise every Wednesday with my parents.
I wish I did that with my parents. Nothing against them. Not watching the news for the first 2 weeks after that event. That was fun as a first grader. Still love you, Mom and Dad. Not holding it against you.
No, I didn't know, like...
You look like Alfred E. Newman. The fucker looks like Alfred E. Newman. I swear to God, and I'm not joking here. I was... That fucking Tuesday, that night, I am watching the news with my parents. They got takeout. I think it was Carl's Jr. We're watching it, and then I'm like this. That's Alfred E. Newman. Where's the president? My dad's like, that is the president. No, that's the guy who... I swear to God. I was like, that's the guy who runs Mad Magazine. No, Alfred E. Newman is just the face of Mad Magazine. I'm like, yeah, him. That's him. It's like, no, that's our president. And that's when I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, that was my first oh shit moment. It's like, oh fuck, the adults did something wrong. Yeah, it's funny. Speaking of, how we're talking about just not only public stupidity, government stupidity, and movies that have taught us this stuff since the fucking 40s.
Yeah.
Oh my, you can even say the 30s. Like, Jesus, Gone with the Wind has those moments. That W movie that Josh Brolin did, I don't know if you ever saw that.
I haven't seen W.
There's a scene in, like, an underground, like, not bunker, but office, like, war room with the cabinet, Bush and Cheney talking about the almost like the slight aftermath of 9/11 or even beforehand. I forget when the scene takes place time-wise. But how basically Cheney just breaks out this whole plan to it's not conquer the Middle East, but like put a strong footing of like America's here, back off.
Great American century, that kind of thing.
And it basically how he said like,
Where do you see a lack of American presence? Right in the heart of it all. What's missing? Iran. The mother lode, third largest oil reserve in the world. 40% of the world's oil goes right through here, the Strait of Hormuz. Control Iran, control Eurasia, control the world. Empire. Real empire. Nobody will fuck with us again.
So yeah, it was set after 9/11. And he had this...
Yeah.
And whether this fucking happened or not doesn't matter. It's the whole point of like, there's always something happening behind closed doors, people. It's not necessarily evil or good. It's just not in your fucking best interest.
Yeah,
it's
well,
profit. It's just profit.
That was like a big Cold War, like post-Cold War thing where it's kind of the rise of neoconservatism. You had these idiots, like these John Bolton types. They're like, hey, let's invade like all the third world, all the oil countries that are not friends with us, and put boots on the ground so we take control of the oil, and that way, America can fully cement itself as the dominant power in the world. This is our opportunity. And I feel like the saving grace of that is that the so-called war on terror kind of ruined that, because it was just a big disaster and quagmire that, oh my God, no one could see nation building as like...
You mean like the war on drugs was a complete quagmire too?
Yeah.
The war on anything. The war on anything is a complete quagmire.
The war on drugs, war on terror,
war on poverty.
We're still working on that. We're still working on all these wars.
You know what's funny? And you know how you said like all these wars, multiple wars. It's exactly like that W movie. What's that black actor's name? I keep forgetting him. He was in almost every single James Bond film with Daniel Craig. He's glasses. He's got a great. He's Gordon. He's the new Gordon.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what I'm talking about.
He was from Westworld.
Yes, he's Jim Gordon in the Batman with Robert Pattinson. But basically, he played was it Simon? No, not Simon. Whatever the politician's name was, I forget. But he basically
Colin Powell.
Colin Powell. Yeah, it was a great delivery by this actor. I want to say his first name is Jeremy, but I'm probably botching it.
Shit, I'm looking it up because he was also in Westworld. I know the actor you're talking about, and I'm drawing a blank. He was also in Last of Us 2.
He will be in The Last of Us 2.
The new season of Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright, that's the actor's name. It's like, I should know who this is.
Played, who was the politician again?
Simon Cowell, or not Simon Cowell, God.
See? I swear
he was also very famous at the same time. No, Colin Powell, Secretary of State, I believe. Yeah, Secretary of State, because defense was Donald Rumsfeld.
So Jeffrey Wright. Am I saying it wrong already?
No, you're doing it right.
Okay. Jeffrey Wright played Colin Powell.
Yes.
And he was basically saying about all these wars, which Travis here is mentioning, the war on terror, the war on poverty, the war on drugs, the war on everything, basically, this war we declare on basically, we're declaring war on words. And what he said when he was actually thinking of the actual wars that Cheney wanted to alluding to in this movie was, I guess...
We invoke preemption, preventive war, you call it. The right to use nukes whenever we see fit. And I guarantee you, Paul, we will be in a forever war everywhere. 3-4 wars at a time. That's not New World Order. It's a world gone mad.
That's what this is. It's just, and also, too, and it's, even with how the British say, whenever America sneezes, the world catches a cold. We are already cemented as the power of this world. Because we are whatever happens with us, whatever we do in these 50 beautiful motherfucking stupid ass states. I say beautiful and stupid.
50 for now.
50 for now, yeah. But I say beautiful and stupid because that's the duality of it all. The rest of the world either benefits, suffers, or they just roll their eyes. We already are the center foot of power in this world, like you just said we're trying to be. We already are. Yeah. We did it when we beat the shit out of the Nazis and the Japanese. We just lost it and forgot about how to go about it. Fucking hell. It's like we don't even have allies anymore. We have business partners. That's what we have. We haven't had an ally since 45.
I'm just thinking of... I just think of this quote from... I think it was the first episode of The Wire... It's very early on.
Great show, by the way. Thank you for getting me hooked on that. I still got to watch a couple more seasons, but thank you.
Yeah, you got to watch the whole thing. But early on, one of the characters, Lieutenant Carver, Ellis Carver, played by Seth Gilliam, he has this quote where he kind of criticizes the whole fact that it's called the war on drugs, and he says,
"Girl, you can't even call this shit a war."
Why not?
Wars end.
It's like this is not a war. This is just an endless continuing action. And there's no way to win this.
And all these wars you said, except for the war on terror, which is more of the fresher war that's been declared, but the war on drugs, the war on crime, poverty, they've been declared since like 50 years. It's like, what, 40, 50 years ago, all this bullshit. It's like, okay, when do we win? Because there's a way to win it, but when you can make money off of it, you're never going to make sure we end it.
Yeah. Well, even in the war on terror, it's like, oh, we went after Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. How did that work out? Well, the Taliban came back and we're just like, fuck it, we're done, we're out. Sorry, Afghani women, you're back to gender apartheid. We're really sorry that we fucked this up. And then Al-Qaeda, okay, we got rid of Al-Qaeda, but then we get ISIS. And then you got all these other things like Hamas and Hezbollah and Houthis, and it's like, okay, yeah, we'll do the exact same thing we did with Al Qaeda. It's like, oh, we'll just bomb the fuck out of them. Okay, well then you're just gonna get worse things. Like that's not really how you win hearts and minds.
No, the next generation is gonna want to kill you.
Like, what was it like in Gaza right now? Like, it's been reported that Hamas's recruiting has just gone up, even though Gaza is like a flattened, like, cemetery, basically. Yeah. I'm like, oh, geez, 16 months of bombing? Oh, I wonder why that didn't work.
And you know why? No matter if you're on the side of good or evil, watching your dad, your older brother, your uncle get killed is going to just piss you the fuck off when you get older. Mm-hmm. Doesn't fucking matter.
Yep.
That's the thing.
You can't even, like, ascribe some sort of moralistic thing to that. It's just, no, yeah, people in dire straits are going to turn to radicalism. Yeah. It's just, that's how it works. You got to give them another alternative. You got to give them an alternative that says, you know what? You can have a normal life where you can just live at your house and sleep at night and feel good and feel safe. If you don't have that, people do terrible things.
The overallness too, I feel like people have forgotten, and I've talked about this comedian a few times on and off this podcast. Ralphie May said a great thing about the whole way. It's not even just this country, but the way the world is like this snake eating itself. It's not black, brown, white, and yellow against each other. No, it's rich and poor. That's really what it comes down to. It's like there's a very few select few up top who, they got a lot of fucking money, who are just keeping us, the rest of us, the 99%, eyeing each other. Mm-hmm. It's like, poor is poor, it's like, what color are you? Broke. That's it, And it was, a bit of it was getting better. I know the 90s had some problems. We know that. But it was the line was going upward in the sense of like we're getting somewhere. For example, like, speaking because this is the month of February, Martin Luther King's dream, the doctor's dream of like us all working together. It was heading there. And then it changed and someone took advantage of it for profit.
At least crime is down, which is something they don't like to talk about, but actually crime rates are like the lowest they've been in a while. Whereas actually the 90s were like, that was like a big violent crime decade. At least early on it was.
But I'm just saying the overall, like, you could feel it slowly, the line is what I mean, going upward. And then, it all changed. And then it just keeps changing. And then you got more bullshit. And, like Katrina, the pandemic,
The 90s
more.
The 90s was the what now decade.
The only thing bad about the 90s really was the fucking hairdos. And the fucking, the hip attire.
A lot of baggy shirts and pants. Just, they were really afraid of showing off the human form with their outfits.
Basically, everyone didn't want to have more, Robert Plants with their dick and balls bulging out as much as it was from the fucking 70s.
The 90s.
Let your balls breathe. That was the quote.
I think in the 90s is like the what now decade, because like we defeated our big enemy. And what is culture now? What is culture without the big enemy in the East?
We needed the new boogeyman. That's why we have the 90s.
That's why we were so obsessed with terrorism afterwards.
The Muslim is gonna get you. The Muslim is gonna get you.
Yeah.
The Muslim is gonna get you.
The big scary Arab is gonna get you.
Tonight, Allah, Allah. That's from Ralphie May. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah.
One of my top 5 favorite comedians of all time. You know what? Just because we've been going on and on for a while, and we could probably
got off topic.
We did. So basically, just to end it, and I think to just now kind of simplify and streamline it for us, because we're just now getting a little squirrely ourselves. Don't be shocked by what you're hearing. It's nothing shocking. It's nothing new. You don't trust the rich. I never have. Don't trust a suit. Don't trust anyone over 30, and especially don't trust any fucking person without calluses on their motherfucking hands. Mm-hmm. No one elected to any office, whether it's the bottom of the barrel alderman all the way to our president. They're not wise in any form of degree that's like holier beyond thou wise. They have some wisdom, sure, but they're not given, again, Sermon on the Mounts. They're not breaking this new wall of revelations and, coming down from the mountains with these 2 big tablets, with the commandments and shit. They're human beings who are just as stupid and fucking annoying as the rest of us. And honestly, because I've been talking about comedians, what Dave Chappelle said, you know what? He has a chance to do good. Let's just cross our fingers. Like any president, though. I did this with every president, even with Obama. Mm-hmm. Just cross your fingers. Hope it works out well, because I don't like taxes. I also know I need to pay them because I don't want certain things privatized. There are certain things that, sure, why not? Not every fucking thing. Well, we need taxes.
So much for that optimism, since...
I have to have the optimism. I have 2 fucking kids.
Yeah, well, Elon Musk has probably all your financial information on a private server now.
Yeah, but someone else had it before him, I bet, too. That's right, everybody. All the IRS stuff. One man has it all.
Elon Musk has your social security, has all of our social security numbers now. Yeah, I think echo that, and I would just say I watched a piece of that interview you told me about that just came out as of recording. It came out today. It was Trump and Musk being interviewed, like Sean Hannity, and it reminded me. And you were right. It did remind me of like a celebrity couple being interviewed
by Oprah, back when Oprah when she was in the height. Yeah, that's what it is.
Like Trump and Musk might have both been holding hands and talking sweet.
They should have been holding hands.
It was very weird. And that's why I can only watch 2 minutes of it before I turned it off. But one thing, like, Musk kept making it seem like, this is being his role that he bought is being done for altruistic reasons. And I'm like, first of all, a lot of the departments that are facing cuts and layoffs because of DOGE, they're all departments that Musk maybe was facing investigation from. So just know that, like, every private citizen that gets involved with government, and maybe it's for a good reason, but it's some sort of reason that benefits them. Musk is not doing it out of some altruistic idea of like, I've always been curious about wasteful government spending. No, he doesn't care about any of that. He's doing this as a power grab, as a way to line his own pockets, as a way to advance his own personal interests. That's what this is all about. And you always have, if anyone tries to paint themselves as altruistic or whatever, you always have to wonder, what are they getting out of this? And they're always getting something out of it. You are a fucking rube if you believe otherwise.
If they think they can reinvent the wheel, keep them away from power. Thank you everyone again for joining us. This was definitely a little squirrely from our part, but hey, that's where we're at right now. We do appreciate you, though, all of you, for tuning in and listening to us. It means a lot to us. We're going to keep doing this, episode 3. We're going to keep putting out more and more. We hope you keep continuing to listen and enjoying and tuning in. We love you all. And have a good meal tonight. Hot or cold, just get some good food in you. And that's a perfect way to end your day.
And drink plenty of water. That is not related to the sponsor joke. Just drink water. It's some people forget to do that.
It's a real sponsor, Travis. Don't tell them otherwise. God. Good night, everybody.
Bye.